This is the Advantage Baits Big Carp. A lot of my fishing, competition fishing, is done for big carp in the margins. So what are the most important aspects of this bait? Number one, being able to carry vast quantities of loose offerings. The ground bait has to be incredibly sticky and also incredibly heavy. There's a lot of corn in this mix. There's also yellow particles, red particles. There's a very low percentage of fish meal. It doesn't need to be a strong fish meal. It's more the carrying capacity and the weight that is provided. It's a heavy ground bait that takes on a lot of water and becomes very, very heavy to the feel. It's going to go to the bottom. It's going to create that carpet. And when those big fish come over the top, even when you're hooking them and they turn, they're not going to stir all that bait up and you get that big waft of cloud coming up. And that's when you can foul hook fish. But what we've achieved with the big carp is a ground bait that takes on a lot of water. And this ground bait we've got absolutely perfect. Because it's sticky and it's heavy, you have to be really mindful not to over wet this one. Going to mix a kilo of it up. What you'll notice straight away with the dry mix is the different size of particles. You can see that there's real big yellow, red. It's those bits of red, the bits of yellow, the bits of corn that are really going to stand out. Put a nice dollop of water in. Give it a good mix. You can see those bits of corn. And you can see immediately there I can make a ball, and that is really heavy where it's absorbed a lot of the water already. And I'm just going to be mindful of the fact that I want this to absorb more water. It will absorb more water than the other ground baits. Therefore, I want to give it a bit more time. I'm quite happy with that. There's enough water in there. I'm going to leave that about half hour, 40 minutes, come back to it. The one difference with this ground bait is I tend not to riddle it. So it's just a case now leaving it, returning in about half hour, 40 minutes. I've left it and you can see it has dried out quite considerably. I'm going to add a little bit more water. Just be really on the back foot when you're putting that second amount of water in, because it doesn't always take an awful lot to get it to the desired stage. That's absolutely perfect. So that's the big carp mix ready to go. I'm going to make a ball up the same sort of size as I'd be topping up with in the edge. That sort of size. So I'm going to drop this one in now. So you can see now, unlike the other ground baits, it's gone to the bottom in a solid lump. And I hardly squeeze that at all, but it just shows how sticky the ground bait is, how heavy and big the particles are. Yes, you've got a little bit of fizzing and that coming up, but there's no cloud. Because it's 100% big particles, lots of food, it's going to keep those big aggressive feeding fish in your peg. Well, it's been a good couple of minutes and you can see the integrity of the ball is still largely intact. You get a tiny bit of effervescence off the top. When the bait crumbles off the side of the ball, it just goes dunk to the bottom. And that is testimony to how much water this bait can take on and how heavy it actually is. Early on in the match, I tend to put the ground bait in loose. Then when I'm fishing it, I'm feeding with balls and dropping my float on. So what I'm going to do while I've got the tank here is just put a loose handful of ground bait in so you can see how it settles. There's a little bit of a cloud, but bearing in mind that's only been in there seconds, it's all going to die down. But you can see the weight of that bait. It's sunk like an absolute stone, even though it was loose ground bait. And it's been designed to catch lots of big carp. The Advantage Baits Big Carp. Look out for Advantage Baits in your local Daiwa stockists.